continuing with the invade without jungle pressure. We shall see, though. Game number 2, CLG looking to extend the series, whereas Team Dignitas want to close this out as quick as possible and get themselves right up into that playoff position. Similar bans coming out so far.
Yeah, Camille still being a blue side ban, so Dignitas take that ban over. Varus remaining a red side ban, so they might just hit the same things.
Yes, sir.
LeBlanc we still expect to be thrown away from the table. It was banned by Team Dignitas in the prior game, and they're going to ban away Malzahar, so now it's up to CLG to do it.
Yep, we still are on 7.4, so LeBlanc has not been dumpsterized quite yet.
I don't think the nerfs were that bad. I think she's probably gone. I just personally think dumpsterized is oversaying it.
Okay, anytime I see 125 damage taken off,
I mean, it's a big nerf.
Ability.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's a big nerf, but I think if you max Q and E, it's not as bad.
Fair enough. Plus, extreme language is always more fun.
That's true. You're right. Dumpsterize it is, and now, whoa, a Lulu pickup. Extreme.
The extreme Lulu pickup. Dignitas did work out successfully for them in game number 1. And Xpecial, the Kryptonite seems to be back online, although really my eyes were definitely for Keane in that last game.
Yeah.
Solo kill and then, huge amount of pressure. We'll see though, as the mid lane picks seem to be, they're very comfortable with letting them filter down to the second round, and the continued importance of Graves here from CLG being shown.
Yep.
Xmithie will get to grab him once again. Rengar is still on the table, so Team Dignitas could very well do the exact same answer.
Absolutely. I don't think we're going to see mid lane picks so far. It is going to be support Lulu. That's a fun. Karma in the bot lane. So CLG really not doing anything to dance around the fact that they kind of got the option to pick a second champion here in this first phase. Actually, they will cheat it up. Thresh is going to be picked up here. They know what the bot lane matchup is. And they say, let's play something a bit more aggressive down here in this lane. Try to get a lead.
Yeah, definitely more risk and more reward with Thresh. It's a playmaking support champion for Aphromoo, whose biggest strength and biggest way that he has fit into this team and over so many years has been on the front lines, creating plays, saving people with Lantern. We'll see what he's able to get done this time around. Can be a little bit more proactive than he was on the Karma, a very reactive champion. And we'll see if that is the switch that CLG need to flip, because Team Dignitas are going with the exact same old so far. 3 champions here for them.
Ooh, and a new look. All right, Counterwatch Gaming get to grab the Fiora for the top lane. We do have mirrored roles overall, but a new look for CLG.
Yeah, that's what we were a little bit alluded to in the Champion Select of the last game, a possibility they can go for. Darshan has had success on carried champions recently in the last 3 weeks, and we'll get another look at his Fiora. But again, if CLG were focusing ganks on top side before in a tank-tank matchup, you can definitely bet that they're going to throw some jungle pressure up to the top side in a Fiora tank matchup. And this might actually cause Team Dignitas to answer in kind.
Yeah, I got to see what happens here with this one. Of course, we know Graves and Rengar can both get some early gank pressure. Maybe slight lead to Graves overall, but going to see how the rest of the comp pans out here. Ash ban away from CLG. They don't want to give that one over to Team Dignitas. Aurelion Sol ban, not a surprise. Huhi, pretty much one of the only players, and I think the only one in North America to play the champion.
Definitely a possibility.
Final ban for CLG. Will it be aimed at bot lane as well? Looks like they let the timer go by, so Aphromoo bans nothing. Interesting choice there.
So they are making a play on the AD carry position here to possibly look for that Ezreal that we were talking up last time. We talked about how good he has been on the Ezreal. Let's see if Team Dignitas go with another mid lane ban, or if they actually drop one on the Ezreal.
Yeah, I'm curious here. 3 seconds to go until that final ban. It's going to be Ahri, actually. That was the safe pick that was brought out by Huhi last game.
Let's see if CLG do pull the trigger here. I like Ezreal, especially if you are going to go with that split push Fiora. Makes it a bit easier to disengage. They already have Thresh. If anyone's overextended, take the Lantern. Not going to be the case here. They do go for a little bit more of the crit scaling and siege with the traps.
Still surprised they wouldn't ban anything. I feel like Caitlyn wouldn't have been seen in that second ban phase anyway, so you might as well think, what is Team Dignitas' best bot laner? We're going to go Caitlyn. What are you going to play? Let's ban you off it or force you on what we want you to play. Even if it's on purpose, I think it's always a mistake to not ban anything.
Well, I have confirmation that they did let it time out on purpose, so this was not an accidental missed ban here, and
That's almost worse in my mind.
Semi trying to bait them in. In the end, Team Dignitas don't actually take that though, and they go with the Jhin in the bottom lane for the lethality. Syndra finally does come in, and we get to see Keane in the mid lane here. Definitely a snowball-y as well.
Yeah, we know Corki seems to be out of everyone's pools after the 7.4 nerfs. No one's playing it. Orianna, I feel like, is typically seen as the weaker matchup into the two. I see Syndra picked into Ori pretty frequently, but Huhi's going to grab the Orianna anyway and say, my shielding's going to be enough. Let's go Abyssal Scepter. Good luck to me.
Yeah, interesting little tweaks here at the end for CLG. See how it does work out. Orianna, one thing you can say for her, it is possible you'll have to give up a few more CS to not play your lane aggressively, and just go with the shield early on. And maybe they want to buy some room for Xmithie to actually spend a lot of time up top with Darshan, because again, the biggest thing that's sticking out to you is definitely going to be the Darshan on a split pusher on the Fiora. Yeah. While she is massive, if you get to 1 or 2 items. Getting to that point is really the critical phase. Can you raise up the baby Fiora into that threatening split pusher, or will it go just kind of a meddling way and not also just be a huge part in team fights?
Yeah, and that's the problem, I guess, is that kind of Logic Gaming do not have any real tanks. They've got a Thresh and an Orianna ball, and that gets you halfway there, but you're not going to withstand the kind of damage coming out of a Rengar or even a Jhin in a team fight here. So CLG, I think, generally speaking, would be afraid of a 5-on-5. Team Dignitas would love to have one. As we saw from the stats coming into game 1, Ssumday gets a lot done with his teleports. We know that Lulu, Jhin, Rengar definitely can set up kills, and if Ssumday gets that good TP and gets the rest of the team going, the team fight phase of Team Dignitas can do very well.
Yeah, and along those lines, that's why I kind of do like Team Dignitas going with the Jhin rather than Ezreal. Puts more threat on the bottom lane, plus super early ramping. As soon as you get a straight Dirk, basically, ready to go, and the snares from his W's could bring up some kills if you do see those TPs you're talking about.
So here we go into game 2. Team Dignitas took the first one pretty convincingly. One team fight broke the entire game open. It was a sub-30-minute win. Dignitas only one match behind 6th place. Would love to close this one out and get their way into the postseason. Counter Logic Gaming in a spot where they've got to hold on, and they didn't do that in game 1. This time around, putting Darshan back on a split pusher. He has won on the likes of Fiora and Gangplank and Jace before. Once again, they put their trust in Darshan to win his matchup against a player that coming into the year we thought best top laner in the league. And Ssumday has been good, but not the obvious standout in a lot of respects.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, most people's MVP for top lane is probably between Impact and Hauntzer. But Ssumday back on the Nautilus once again. Gonna make a big splash here. Early ward and deep wards here for CLG on the blue quadrant, as you can see. The jungler's been scouted. Darshan has not been scouted, but they will be able to assume that Xmithie is starting on his Raptor camp.
I'm not sure what value is gained from CLG scouting out the Wolves. I don't feel like it's a common camp start. Maybe I'm missing something and it's like the new metagame, but really want to know if anything was happening at Wolves. Xmithie going to get a safe Raptor start, the same for Chaser here, so pretty mirrored starts overall. I want to point out, something I actually like a lot is that Aphromoo did go coin on Thresh. I used to really hate that kind of start because I feel like you needed the Relic Shield sustain, but he's into a matchup where you don't want to have to try to CS. Aphromoo doesn't exactly lane well against Lulu Jhin, and it's better if he just plays safely and doesn't give away free hits to Xpecial.
Yeah, plus they do know that Ssumday very good with the teleports and want to play a little bit safer down here. Just let Caitlyn get some CS. It's very possible to play back with Thresh and just be the Lantern bot, kind of nullify ganks on that side of the map. Xmithie does go in for that delayed invade right over to the blue afterwards with the advanced warding that they had done. He should be able to complete this and retain control of the top side for Fiora. Crab is going to cut off the route that Rengar would be forced to go with. The other thing that he could have done is on his way blow up the blast cone to make sure that there's no way Chaser would really threaten Darshan. Currently, Chaser, if he really wanted to, could go Gromp and then blast cone over and circumvent the wards as well as the Scuttle Crab that was taken. But it would have been a little bit out of Xmithie's way to go pop that, and he decided better to go get his red in a quick fashion.
Smites it away, and he's going to go down to the bottom side. Looks like it'll be a 3-buff start, and Chaser just now goes, hey, let me grab this. Oh, blue buff missing, unlucky. So
I've been had.
Yep, one full can't miss from Chaser's jungle.
So one thing that also might dissuade Chaser from going for that play on top side would be that anytime you come to your own jungle and you see you've been counter jungled, you, especially in pro play, you have to assume that they've left wards behind.
Yeah.
And without, the Raptor buff for you to be able to smite and stuff like that, it's very difficult for you to assume the worst of your opponents and be like, they haven't left any vision. They don't know where I am. It kind of makes it a little bit of a mind game, but usually erring on the side of caution. Plus, plant. And Darshan was able to rotate down, pop that Scryer's bloom, and they know for sure where Chaser is now.
This time it's Huhi's ward. Tracking him, and that control ward actually too far away to notice that Trinket's up, so Chaser really seen. Nice hook comes in. Xmithie is there for the Lantern gank. The trap was there. Beautifully played. The first blood comes through again. Huhi running for dear life, and just like the last game, first blood Xmithie and a kill on a Huhi right after.
Ooh, so really good by CLG and Xmithie specifically on the bottom side of the map. Considering they had full vision of Chaser for, what, 20 seconds almost? Yeah. They have to assume he just went into the river, so you're like, all right, he's either taking the long path down to bottom lane, where we already have a counter gank ready with Xmithie, or he's going mid lane. So part of that was really good from CLG, maybe not communicating quite enough for Huhi to back off in the mid lane and really respect the Rengar, but it does allow Team Dignitas to get off a counter move in the mid lane, as Huhi not enough respect for Chaser, level 4 Rengar.
Yep.
In that river.
So nicely done by the Team Dignitas jungle to make that play happen. He even answered the score line against Xmithie by getting his own camp steal, killing off the Raptors. Ssumday is going to get a later recall. It won't mean much. He'll TP back to lane anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to reassure you that, yes, in fact, this ward, full vision of Chaser.
And he's hugging the bottom side of the lane. Yeah. Huhi should be switching the side he's on right away.
Yeah, that's no excuses there. Walks right up into Syndra stun, and then flashes will be answered. He did get more flashes out, but definitely not worth there.
Yeah,
a little bit more caution. Definitely could have gone a long way for CLG there.
Definitely missed play. Well, quick bottom scuttle grabbed up by Chaser. He's going to try to take over this part of the map. Scryer's Bloom sees those two champions, even spots the control wards. They know what kind of vision's down there. Logic Gaming are feeling okay about this one. Well, top lane matchup is going equal in an undisturbed matchup, which is, I think, very much the favor of Darshan. I'm not sure how the lane is supposed to go in and of itself, but I feel like if that was actually really nice by Ssumday, baiting out the riposte and then landing the anchor toss, or the root regardless.
Yeah, Nautilus is definitely the powerful one of the tanks for early laning phase. But you're right, Darshan is definitely happy to just cruise on to his first two items. Whereas the mid lane is, again, a very similar story. If you talk about those, Phreak, because with that, Huhi lack of
respect,
basically, yeah, caution, whatever you want to go with there. Keane is, again, set up to bully him. He's got a good matchup here with the Syndra. Yeah, he's got the early kill in the lane, and he's got and he's got a Rengar on his
Round
team.
2, 3v1. Who he gonna try when he can't? There's not even a chance. There was no way he gets out of that one. That one, not Huhi's fault. That's just done and dusted. Kill for Team Dignitas.
Holy moly. Even though Ssumday is going to give up some CS, and he's a little bit behind Darshan there, that is definitely worth it to just blow open the middle of the map, as Huhi was already hurting from that early kill in the CS that Keane was able to get afterwards as well. Now it's just a huge pain point for CLG to try and work around the middle of the map here, where they are losing quite a lot of control. They do know that now the early Rengar ultimate is down, and the cooldown on it early in the game is fairly significant, but definitely going to have to be a bit more cautious in the future.
Yeah, well, thankfully for Huhi, he's only there for utility in some cases, but I guess he's also the only magic damage on the team, so if everyone goes to stack armor and Huhi just remains low gold, that's going to be a bit of a problem. Quick blue buff handoff to Keane, this time done well enough as he's continuing to scale up. Early Sork Shoes also got to feel pretty good. Huhi's actually not running much MR in his glyphs. He's only got 3 of them, so he is generally a bit squishy.
Oh man, early Sork Shoes here from Keane as well.
Yeah.
To be able to dodge around any harassment from Huhi as well as provide threat for an all-in. Lots of wards though, as you can see from CLG. And even though, you know, it's a troubling situation, that's a good reaction. A lot more extra vision here to try and protect from the bottom side. And in this situation, it is correct to hug the bottom side, as that's where all your vision is. Plus, they've got the duo invade here. Aphro and Xmithie actually looking to answer some of the pressure.
They're not going to find Chaser taking his Raptors, so just stones throw away. Aphro going to look for the flash hook, and actually predicts a juke from Keane, but Keane walks downward.
I don't know if they actually want to pull the trigger here, but it looks like they want to keep up the chase.
Look at the damage on a Huhi. He gets Lantern away. Pretty.
He actually almost killed him. Look at the shield and then potion chugging.
Actually almost dead to just the damage output, but a hook onto Xpecial, face checks a brush.
Actually dead.
That was pretty silly by Xpecial. Should have known better. Gives away a kill. CLG get the better of that.
The programming freak, it's gone haywire again.
Oh no, it's crashed once again.
Xpecial bot is failing against CLG.
Oh no. Maybe they'll patch that one out one day. Silly League of Legends, all its bugs.
I think Keane has actually decided he's the one who wants to take over.
Yeah.
As far as a CLG destroyer. Chaser though, actually this is definitely risky. Don't think he's gonna want to jump head first into anything, yeah.
Goes for the steal.
Half-hearted steal there.
Yeah. Threw a skill shot at it. Xmithie blocked it, whatever.
The early Sork boots also help out with roaming. Keane looking to take down this Fiora.
Darshan's boots list. Gonna not riposte that. Flashes the W slow. Doesn't riposte anything. I guess it was on cooldown.
Ooh.
And survives the encounter. So looks like he's fine.
Yeah, able to get just there on the side so that the balls that Keane dropped from his ultimate, not in position to grab the stun. And he just got the little bounce back there from Keane's E. Pretty close, but Darshan uses everything he has and does escape.
And well enough play by Darshan to get away from that roam, and it's going to give a little bit of free space into the mid lane as Huhi could catch up on one wave of farm, but still a long way to go, of course. Check back on the bottom lane. It's slightly CLG favored. Of course, you would expect that with the early Xmithie gank. And just like the previous game, it is the 2-0 Graves jungle. So I want to key in on the major factors this game. You've got a 2-0 Graves. He should be able to deliver that lead somewhere else on the map. And you've got a 2-0 Keane who tried to, just didn't quite get the gank off on the top side.
Yeah, I mean, flashless Fiora now, that work that he put in might actually prove useful if they're able to revisit that area. Darshan now does have his Tiamat, so he can quickly shove a lane and then try and retreat into the brush, which can help out in, you know, avoiding more ganks. Less exposure time basically in lane. Kind of small amounts of reduced risk. He's trying to hide in the brush, just go annihilate the wave and then move away quickly while he waits for his flash to come up. CLG, meanwhile, they're actually doing a lot of vision work, you can see. Even though they are, you know, hurting around mid lane,
the entire river's lit up.
They're just working overtime.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a Viking funeral. The entire river is lit up right now on CLG. They can see everything all the way down the line. Now looking to play for a bit of a Cloud Drake, and
Cloud Drake funeral.
Yeah, goodbye. It's going down.
They timed this one with all the recalls, actually, you know, synced bottom lane. Chaser actually, does he go for a steal here?
Okay, good enough smite by Xmithie, and they're gonna get out of range. Aphro walks in to tank a shot or two. Pretty decent play. The hook could be there as well onto a trap, but Chaser, yeah, he's stacked up enough. I mean, as long as you leap with your ultimate, you can always just mash your keyboard and get the cleanse, so
yeah,
he's fine.
Still a little bold there.
Yeah.
Not punished at all, but CLG do get the Cloud Drake and get out. So even though they've had this kind of painful mid lane to work around, they've done so successfully. Aphromoo Xmithie working overtime with the vision. They've been able to keep up with the CS in the other areas, and CLG trying to work towards a stronger Caitlyn, where she actually gets to have some of those crit multipliers come in. Huhi attacked again.
Shockwave there, bit of a trade of cooldowns. Quick root on a Huhi from Lod's Deadly Flourish. First we're really seeing of him this game. He's just been sequestered into the bottom lane. But look at this, it's free time for Darshan in the top side with the team app, pushing the wave out, trying to deny some of this farm. Xmithie looks for where the Rengar could be, sees he's not around, and says, great, I can steal a blue buff.
Great. Here
Great.
comes Aphromoo too. I mean, honestly, every time we've been able to pan over these guys, it's been the buddy system, which is what you like to see. Jungler support really working well together. That does mean they know that their bottom side is now weak side, as they've left a lot of time for Team Dignitas to get similar vision. And it's
Ssumday finds a friend.
Oh! Good little steal there from Ssumday. He needs all the gold he can get. Now he has to play defensively on the top side, but had to do that anyway. This should be a trade. I think that CLG actually do like opening up the lanes and getting more long lanes here for Darshan to kind of work with, as he's getting to the point where he'll have
faster.
A lot more power. CLG does get the first turret bonus gold as well.
And that was only 2 seconds apart. Normally you don't want your support to steal away the local gold from the first turret, but getting it at all is worth way more than risking that in the slightest. So, good job by CLG. Just, again, 2 seconds faster on the play. Get first turret gold.
Meanwhile, mid lane, both of the pushes have been abandoned at second turret, and everybody rotates over towards mid. Looks like there's a decent amount of vision for both sides, and shouldn't result in any kills, but just a little minion trading here.
All right, yeah, just going to be the farm. And, credit to Huhi for surviving in a lane where I think he somewhat lightly counterpicked himself and did get ganked. And, hey, he made some misplays, like he's behind partially from his own volition, but holding up is good.
Yeah, so the first gank, a little bit risky there, not respecting Chaser, and he kind of gave that one to him. The second gank, that's really very difficult to avoid. A Nautilus coming from behind your turret, maybe you talk about advanced defensive warding or communication with top lane as well as bottom lane, but 4 people roaming to your lane, it's pretty rough to blame that one there.
It's like flipping a coin saying heads and tails. I'm like, oh, I got it right.
It's like, I'm between my turrets, man. What do you want? Ever since then, though, has had the defensive play, and we've said it so many times, but the Aphromoo Xmithie combo working to try and give him a lot more advanced warning and buffer. Meanwhile, we actually, now that we have opened up map, it's going to get a bit more interesting as the rotations become that much more important. This Fiora is almost done with the Ravenous, in which case you have so much threat because you not only annihilate minion waves, but you can also go for trades, then heal up off a minion wave very quickly. This is where you start to build up that pressure that everyone talks about for the split push, which is going to be crucial to CLG's game.
Ooh, that was close. Thing is, if he thought the anchor was going to land, you can cast Riposte during your lunge animation. And if he thought he wasn't going to juke it, he could have immuned that and
not even close.
But he's like, no, I got this one, don't worry. Did the Batman theme in his head and, got away with it. We're going to be fine here in this one. Game very close this time. CLG does hold the Drake lead and the gold lead. Team Dignitas, though, better team fight team, and they won like this last time.
Let's prep the 4-man action because a Rengar ultimate, he's got no ultimate on, so they get a little bit of a chunk on there. But the possibilities here are explosive. Team Dignitas, if they open up with Jhin ultimate to really provide basically aerial support for a Rengar to jump in and some added threat there, like it's very scary for either team to really hover around mid lane. That's why you see them going in packs to do this vision work, because Thresh can get a pick, so can a Rengar Lulu with Jhin backup. So there's definitely possibilities in the 4-man squad to get some action around the vision wars, but both teams have really been keeping up as far as those wards. So nobody's been stepping into the hooks or stepping into the danger zone.
Nope. No rumble this game. Not going to be anything too big just yet. Drake's going to spawn in 40 seconds, and let's look at the vision real quick. Team Dignitas have 0 vision in the bot side of the map. There is a ward in CLG's jungle. CLG Gaming actually have lit up the bot jungle pretty nicely, so vision control-wise, CLG doing much better. And that earlier bot lane gank was so long ago, you really can't say it was because of that kill they got. This is just Aphro playing the vision game a bit better. Ssumday sweeps out, especially against the kill.
As of right now, though, for Team Dignitas, even though slightly behind in gold, Jhin, with the amount of lethality you get with Ghostblade plus another serrated Dirk, is feeling super good about this team fight that could break open over an Ocean Drake.
Yep.
Whereas Caitlyn, we always mention it, wants to get the Infinity Edge, come in and supplement the crit she already has, but...
Yeah, totally agree. I think Lot is more powerful at this moment in time over Stixxay, despite any gold difference there might be. Chaser on the hunt. And it's going to be another jump on his Stixxay. He's got to get it right. The nice knockup is there. Beautifully executed on the combo. Chaser gets the kill right in front of the Drake. And okay, that's Darshan TPing into 4. Might get himself killed. The chase is in. They're going to pick him off. Actually, Xmithie just doesn't have the damage. He's trying to kill off Xpecial, trying to get Lod. Keane gets a kill on Aphromoo. It's another fight just like the last one. It's a 3-for-0. Finally one traded back. Huhi limping on. Finally gets killed off. Xmithie going to stay alive just now, but the stun is there. And again, the ace this time only for 1 kill back.
My goodness, are you kidding me?
Deja vu.
Exactly. Team Dignitas, they only give up 1 kill. They're going to get another ace, another turret, and another Drake. Okay, it's not Infernal this time around, but it's a very similar explosive mid-game, gigantic avalanche of power here that goes over Team Dignitas. And when we go over that replay again, you'll see Stixxay's thinking that he wants to zigzag to try and dodge these Jhin bullets, but he zigzags a little bit closer to the bush, just in range of this Rengar. So this one, he does a good job of getting out. It's like, boom, flashes that into the net, but then this zigzag here, he got right just barely back into... That's the max range of the Rengar ultimate out of the bush, and Chaser was able to get on him. But the ensuing stuff here was just really good follow-up by Team Dignitas. They've done a very good job of collapsing in a very timely manner, and even though Chaser's the one tanking this turret and he does get shockwaved in for another kill, it's such a big opening here for Team Dignitas.
Some big mechanical misplays by Xmithie as well, actually. He tried to Q flash and it went nowhere. I think his Q actually finished animated before he flashed, so he doesn't actually reach Lod for the damage. And then he stood still and failed to actually get away from the Nautilus knockup from the ulti, and just some misplays there. But yeah, Team Dignitas win a team fight, they're in control.
Great coordination once again from Team Dignitas. Oh, here we go though. CLG with a little bit.
Nice juke on the hook. The damage is going to be there anyway. Aphro's going to survive the turret damage. Logic Gaming this time not going quietly into the night.
Yep, and let's see if they can actually get an objective afterwards, because this time around, they have more time to respond. And a little bit of pressure here. Actually, they're trying to cut it off.
Can they get it? No, not yet. Out they go.
All right, but again, focus back on the turrets here. CLG wanted to, actually focus onto the Baron.
Ooh, there's a ward though. And there's no real tank, so Aphromoo can't really tank Baron, and Darshan is going to run out of HP so fast.
No teleport on Ssumday though, so Team Dignitas also won't have him here. Aphro actually just dead.
1-for-0 instead of this team fight is a terrible idea. Darshan will lose his life as well. That's going to be a running Fiora. Chaser wants in, is going to survive, lands the root onto Huhi. Another deadly flourish into Darshan, but CLG is going to limp away.
Really was expecting CLG to go for a turret after that victory rather than the Baron, because this stage, 21 minutes in, you need a significant advantage to be able to take that. And with the attempt, the failure there on a high-risk play costs you a lot. Because Team Dignitas end up getting a turret on the backside of it. Whew. Yeah, I feel like if you're trying to reason through CLG's side, some of the pressure from the last game kind of felt like it carried over into the shot calling of this game. And they probably felt like they were more behind in this game than they actually were.
It's only 2,000.
Especially if they can only see the kill score, right? And, and they're looking at that like,
It's like 3-1 in turrets.
This happened last game.
8-4 in kills.
Yeah, we need to get out of this. And maybe they felt a little bit more desperate than they actually needed to this time around.
Sure.
Sometimes it is hard to separate game to game the added pressure that you're feeling. But regardless, Team Dignitas very happy about that attempted Baron, because that was a good counterplay from CLG. Ends up, Team Dignitas don't even lose out.
So some interesting choices this game. Aphromoo, I believe, is rushing Talisman of Ascension. That's what the cloth armor speaks to me about this. So that's interesting. I don't think I've seen this build before on Thresh. Just going Ruby Sightstone into Talisman, but it's going to give the team movement speed both in and out of team fights. If they need to run from a Rengar or run from a Nautilus or a Syndra, they have those tools. If he does go for this item, I think he will be.
Yeah, it definitely is difficult to navigate team fights when the Nautilus Rengar is coming full steam ahead, but maybe they'll be able to juke things like the Syndra stuns and try and help them out that way. Regardless, though, they do have to consider this top lane push. Stixxay hasn't had time to set up a bunch of traps. They actually call in extra reinforcements to fend off that push. Ssumday, though, ready with his teleport on the bottom side and can easily hold the turret. I don't know. I don't think he can any longer push up into Darshan's territory exposed in lane, but he doesn't really have to.
Close in the stun against Xmithie. Good thing he juked away, but now Stixxay gonna be attacked. Lod lands 1, lands 2, lands 3, going for the 4. Gets him with the damage output instead of to get the turret down. Dignitas. Nicely done. They get a rotation. They are playing the game with a 2,000 gold lead. That is something you can definitely play against if you're CLG, and Dignitas just come up better.
Yeah, and again, coming back to the macro decisions from Team Dignitas today. Last game, really shining through. This game, no difference. They make the call for the zoning ultimate here with Lod. You know, landing the shots for extra damage is cherry on top of that cake, and they're able to get the turret. That was the objective, get that gold before this dragon. Now they have time to go set up for the Infernal. They've got a full minute to work on vision around there. They've already gotten the gold off top side. Like, this is really a much cleaner Team Dignitas than we have seen in a while.
Yeah, especially when you consider that both these teams had the same week 6. They both played, what was it, TSM and Phoenix?
The last 3 match series, in fact, they played the same teams.
Yeah.
Had very similar results.
And CLG was able to beat Phoenix 1 when Team Dignitas couldn't. So even just in very recent testing, CLG looked like the better team. And here we are today, and Team Dignitas one week the wiser, essentially, and they're looking better in all their contests right now.
CLG, let's see if they can right the ship. Currently, their defensive vision is up, on their red quadrant around that Baron. It seems to be the call, and probably the right call, that they will cede over this dragon without exposing themselves and just worry about the really big game-breaking objective of the Baron and try and keep vision over there. But again, Team Dignitas is very happy to just acquire extra power through this Infernal Drake. Once it spawns, they should be able to send one person over and still have enough threat on CLG. It looks like CLG are just going to all in on this threat on the Baron, though, to try and keep them off of it as long as possible. I don't know if Team Dignitas actually want to make that call to send one person down to take Infernal. Ssumday's actually heading up towards mid lane, and they divert all attention. Ssumday's here for the team fight, so CLG got to be careful, yeah.
Here comes the big play. Chase from CLG. Lod does as well. He's the first shot on a Huhi. There's a jump in. Aphromoo tanks up the front line. They're going to run away from the curtain call, and it's not too deadly. CLG staying alive, and Darshan still splitting the bot lane.
Crucial disengage there for CLG to buy time for Darshan to get some money back for them with the turret. Xmithie needs to hit that lantern.
Oh, gets knocked out of it, it seems like, and has to get away. Does manage to get himself out. Okay, lantern it was. Yeah, big chunk comes out. Xpecial is very squishy on this champion. No real MR to speak of.
Great job by CLG, playing to their composition of the split push. It is very risky to do that, but they pulled off the disengage. Thresh, so good giving the retreat there and buying time. Lantern out the exposed member multiple times. Throw up the box to dissuade the,
Nautilus. To delay the chase, to play him back.
Nautilus Rengar.
Sure.
Whatever we're calling it.
And he's doing Talented Ascension. That's what the Raptor Cloak's going to be. So, unique stuff here from Aphromoo, trying to keep the disengage. And you saw, he never wanted Darshan to TP. He left him alone in the bot lane. He managed to make this turret score 2-4. So that's, somewhat getting closer here. Infernal Drake will be seeded over, as you mentioned. Chronologic Gaming only playing with the larger objectives. And Infernal Drake will be gifted as a result of that. 1,500 gold the difference, though. Team Dignitas, the test is really this, because look, we were impressed with them in Game 1 by closing out a game with a 5,000 gold lead. That's not always that hard, but for Team Dignitas it has been, so it was good to see them improve that. This is a game where it's clearly within the margins that either team has a stake in this. It is completely reasonable for CLG to win this game. So Team Dignitas is to say, well, we have the lead, 1,500 up, we're playing mismatched comps, who have the team fight better than you split push, and this is the real test.
Exactly. Much more difficult test facing CLG, one of the classic teams with the same shot calling in place from when they were known so much for split pushing. And now they're going for a pick onto Ssumday. Good flash to get out of there, because you would have taken a lot of damage waiting for the rest of your team.
Yeah, good chance he would have died for it. I really do think that was a smart play by him, the best he could have done. He waited to make sure, no, I really can't outrun it. Okay, I'll hit the flash, and does get away. So goodbye Ssumday, and we reset.
We always do have to keep in mind as well, even though CLG are behind in gold, they're keeping up so much pressure with this split push, and there are still outer turrets for them to get. Like, there are 2 extra turrets on the map standing that CLG can, gain gold with and try and even up those coffers once again. Only problem is it is fairly dangerous for them to pull it off. As we said, Thresh provides a lot of tools that make that a little bit easier.
And we'll see. I don't actually know what the Talisman combined cost is. I think it's around 600, so Aphro should be close to that amount of gold. As they share some ward gold. I gotta point out, we're on 7.4, and I've seen so many players fail to like share ward gold properly. It's 30 free gold if you give the last over to your teammate.
Yeah.
Most teams don't care about that. I understand that time is a consideration, but I like options.
Yeah. It's kind of like extra assist gold sitting there.
Yeah.
Extra ward assist gold.
Because if you swept it, you're getting full gold regardless. You just give 30 gold to your bot laner if you just back off for a second. Either way, very minor points, obviously. 1700 the lead. Team Dignitas playing for a bit of Baron control, having to navigate around Stixxay's cupcakes.
Yeah.
Work back and forth on both sides.
It is getting to that situation where Ssumday, the Nautilus at his turret, is just trying to hold Darshan in place and wait for the rest of the team to really find an advantageous situation on the other side of the map. Because Darshan, the multi-item Fiora with even a VF sword on top of the classic Cleaver and Ravenous is really a threatening side lane push. Okay, just some ward work. They actually won't go for it. Ghost Blades are popped, but not able to land any sort of snare here. Also got to beware of the Aphro push.
Ooh, Keane I think actually got it with the QE over the wall. Nicely done by Keane. Steals the red away from what would have been Stixxay's.
Yeah, Darshan going to do the same.
Okay, that's good.
But as we said, Darshan has time to work with because he can annihilate a minion wave and then do anything he wants in that sort of bottom quadrant, while the rest of his team has vision of Team Dignitas. And that vision is being cleared out fairly quickly.
All right, Darshan, of course, still very few wards to work with. Nice hook on a chaser, bit of burst damage, but Graves can't Q over the wall, so doesn't turn into much. Who he wants in can't quite find Keane. That would have been deadly, though. Very close in that play, but Keane walking fast enough. Now here comes the bot lane fight. Ssumday practically invincible. Darshan has to respect that red buff pulls turret aggro, and Ssumday keeps the minions off the turret. Well played by him. Now the mid lane fire is here. Dignitas wants in. The red buff helps. They do quite a bit of turret damage. Xmithie ults to clear the wave.
Yep. Good minion clear there from Xmithie. CLG still holding in the 4-man. Team Dignitas' advantages should come in that area. Whereas Ssumday's doing just fine, hugging his turrets. Darshan's not at the point yet where he's built up enough shield or resistances to be able to get that cheeky auto attack on the turret before going back to heal up. Nautilus is still threatening enough under there. If he's able to just land his snare, he might have a decent chunk. Plus, no extra vision. As soon as that 4-man squad moves out of CLG vision, as we said, he has to respect other members joining the bottom lane party. And CLG take that opportunity to move over towards Baron. This whole time, by the way, that Caitlyn ramping up.
Yep.
Multiple crit items into the Infinity Edge now.
Yeah, rapid fire cannon done means she's got that 800 range in the first auto attack, and 80% crit is threatening. Again, we are on 7.4, so it's not the new and I think improved Blade of the Ruin King. But Stixxay, I would guess Hex Drinker or Scimitar to not die to Syndra in one shot. There's really not great shielding on the team. Thresh, Orianna, I think not enough when Huhi's going to be busy doing other things with his abilities, like shielding himself.
Also, I like Xmithie purchasing the new Last Whisper here because Graves, short range, he's not going to be able to get around Chaser and Ssumday, who are building a lot of armor. So he's got to go through them. And the new Last Whisper is perfect for that. Such a cheap little pickup. 45% of bonus armor penetration.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
Is super, super effective against specifically Ssumday and Chaser, which are probably the ones he's going to be unloading most of his bullets into.
Absolutely agree. It's not really a backline-focused team here, CLG. It is tank killing. Team Dignitas, of course, continue to scale up their frontliners. Chaser's starting to go more durable as well, getting himself towards the... It's not Random Zone, the Deadman's Plate, that's the one. Even has extra burst as Dignitas once again goes to play for Baron control. Ward over the wall, and Xmithie says, all right, I'll get back over. Quick snipe on a Keane, and that's actually correct to do, by the way. When the mid lane is left alone like that, don't let a tank face tank it. Just get your 300 damage in. Hope they don't regen it. Problem is, Team Dignitas still taking more of the map away. 1,200 damage crit, and CLG gonna try to take Baron over the wall.
Ping's already going down, though, yeah.
But that was nice. So they had a control ward inside the pit that disabled the regular Sightstone ward and said, hey, we can just jump the wall. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I like that idea from CLG.
Yeah. Regardless, though, because Ssumday was pulled away, Darshan should be able to get a couple of those autos onto this turret and finally start to get some damage down in his split push.
Down to half HP, but it's so slow going right now. And honestly, he's going to have a hard time pushing Ssumday around. The fact that he's got an Ocean Drake at all means that if Darshan does get a semi-decent trade, a lot of that goes away thanks to the Drake regen.
Yeah.
Obviously, Infernos don't help Ssumday at all, but the Oceans actually do in this kind of situation. They help the rest of Team Dignitas in a team fight, obviously, and it makes it a little bit harder for CLG to win those 5-on-5s or 4-on-4s or 4-on-5s.
And even keep vision of the 4 squad of Team Dignitas. While Darshan's very, very happy to 1v1 all day, there's no advance warning from CLG here. They don't have any deep wards to know when one member, if Chaser heads down bottom, all of a sudden Darshan has more things to worry about.
Yep.
And they don't exactly have all the wards. Meanwhile, they're starting off the Baron, and Darshan is killing the turret, so there's going to be a teleport one way or the other.
Moment of truth. How's CLG going to play it? How's Dignitas going to play it? Ward to the wall. CLG do see what's happening. 5,000 health on the Baron. Ssumday taking it, and Invincible. Darshan onto the inhib turret. Knock up there onto Xmithie. Big damage. He's got to get away from this, and Lod could win the team fight by himself. He's going to make sure Aphromoo goes down. Misses the 4th. That's 1 for 0. Meanwhile, Inhibitor dying. Stixxay's got to flash the wall. Chaser's still on this one. Living up to his name. Gonna knock him down with the shot. The crit comes through. Ssumday still wants more. Stixxay is running for his life. Huhi staying alive, pushing back Xpecial. Lod gets the kill picked off. It's a 2 for 1 so far. That's still good for CLG. Into the base he goes. He's fighting off against Keane and nearly takes him out. One more hit will do it. And it's Darshan trying to win the game by himself. Finally gets a real opponent down to the bot lane, and he's going to run away from this one.
Man, what a high-pressure situation here. Team Dignitas try and force the issue on starting off that Baron, but then make the call for Keane to go back at the same time they engage on the 4-man squad, and they do get a couple of kills, but it's nothing compared to the devastation that Darshan has brought upon their base.
Single inhib is down, and several members still dead, including the jungler. Means CLG gonna go for the play. Lod gonna spot this himself. Darshan wants in. Can they find the flake? Can they find the hook? Talbot Ascension actually gonna be stopped out. Lod, yeah, getting some slows, and a nice Glitterland spike special actually, I think, saved Lod's life. Over the wall is Ssumday. Xmithie not gonna like this fight. Down he goes. Nicely done by Ssumday.
Assassin Nautilus! Seen it before, see it again. Ssumday. Blast combs over to the graves. I believe that was blind. There was a scrying ward from CLG sitting in that. I know that he saw Xmithie disappear into the fog of war, and you can maybe guess that he's over there.
The control ward, I think they knew.
But technically,
I think it was a Dignitas control ward there, so it might have been visible, but either way, it's round 2 for the Baron. No smite for Counter Logic Gaming. There's a giant minion wave bot, but Darshan does not have TP. There's the Q riposte, and the Lantern to get away, buying a bit of time, but it's down to 4,000 health. Huhi does have Shockwave. Hook's gonna miss, but that was gonna land from Ssumday. And it's gonna be a bunch of damage. They get one, but it's a trade kill, and that could be all the damage they need. Dignitas will be taking out the Baron. Nice crit from Lod, and now they're re-engaged. Why does CLG even fight this? They give away 2 more kills. That's Darshan getting a trade. Don't know if worth. It's 3 for 2 overall, I guess.
Yeah, Team Dignitas definitely going to need to use that Baron buff to get back and tend to these minions because they were up against the timer.
Ooh, they could lose it.
Barely got the Baron. Still lose a Nexus turret, which is more significant in this game since Darshan is super threatening at the moment. He did lose his GA in that last round of fights, but he's still an absolute monster. Once again, let's take a look at the original Baron play that started this all off. So they make the call to have the recall right now from Syndra. You can see him backing off, and Keane is going to recall because he got chunked out. Meanwhile, the rest of the team chases down CLG here in a very disorganized fashion. They didn't get their DPS over there. A lot of flashes used just to cover distance and try and get in range to do damage, but here's the 1v1 with Darshan and Keane. Take it away, Phreak. Play by play, because you didn't get to see it first time.
Jumps into him, pops the ulti, gets the movement speed. He's just gonna dive in.
Boom, 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 boom.
The riposted actually, I think he landed the slow. That's good enough. He did what I talked about earlier. He did the lunge and a riposte to make sure the riposte lined up but not slow, so we chased him down. And he's so tanky. What a play.
The control ward was placed afterwards.
Okay. I stand corrected.
But that was still sick. I mean, we've seen some good split pushing. We've seen some flying Nautilus. And now we get to see some Baron buff for Team Dignitas, pushing right up mid lane.
Interesting. Stixxay is actually going for the more aggressive item build. Lord Dominic's Regards, 4th item. Really in tune with trying to kill off Ssumday. That does make him, again, riskier against Keane. Here comes the play. The ulti's across. He can stun up the entire team. And he does, actually. Aphromoo takes one of the shots, but that's mid lane tier 2 down.
And CLG are just trying to hold and buy time for Darshan right now. It's definitely risky for him. Team Dignitas want to force the issue here. They would want Ssumday to tank the turret if they decide to pull the trigger and go in. If they can't decide, then they're just going to waste some time and waste some buildings.
Equal trade of turrets, and that's against a Baron buff. Now trying to stop recalls. Ssumday going to anchor back in. 5v4, Chasers coming. This is a big risk. CLG's going to lose 2 at the very start of it. A bit aggressive for that. Darshan, of course, still pushing the base. And it's a battle of wave clear versus a 5v3, now a 4v3. Ssumday is here to defend. Shotgun catches 2, but Huhi caught with a deadly flourish, and it's just that. It's Stixxay against the world now, keeping his team alive against Dignitas, running away.
Gotta be careful with these types of calls for CLG, because the Baron buff means that Team Dignitas could end it.
And they're looking to do that right now. Darshan kills one, the second inhibitor, and that's the kill. It's over. There's no way they can defend this. Team Dignitas gotta make it the 2-0. The base defense is a catastrophe for CLG, and Team Dignitas are within striking distance of the playoffs. They improve. 2-0 Team Dignitas. Beautifully done. Whew. Okay, that was definitely a strange one. CLG and Team Dignitas both had rights to this game. It was close in the mid game. The shot calls were interesting, but at the end, that was CLG very obviously overstepping and giving away a ton of kills against Jhin Rengar.
I love when we get to see, split push versus a team that does have those hard engaged threats, because you get these super risky moves where it is about just trying to buy time for your Fiora to, take down turret after turret after turret, but a little bit too close. Ssumday turns right around, saves it, gets the snare onto Aphromoo, and then Xmithie, I believe, was the one that was right there as well. So they pick up multiple kills in that turnaround as CLG trying to play that risky game of stopping recalls while also not getting caught. But Team Dignitas pulled the trigger, and very nice set from them.
Deserving cheer from the audience for the yellow and black squad right there. Taking down CLG improves Team Dignitas to 5-8, and their next match is Echo Fox, who are only half a game ahead of them and currently in that 6-7 sort of semi-tie right there. This is the week for Team Dignitas to prove if they are the playoff team. They're playing the squads right above them in the standings. If that's a 2-0 week, Dignitas are in top 6 almost for sure, and they can ride that one out. The question was, who's the dark horse? Who's going to get those bottom spots? Like, we know basically that C9, TS7, and probably Phoenix 1 are just shoo-ins. Like, you don't even consider them in the possibility. C9, we actually know are guaranteed the spot. TSM probably will be by the end of the week, to be honest. And then it's like FlyQuest, maybe a little bit faltering. They lost yesterday. CLG lose here. Like, maybe those spots are for grabs. But Dignitas are I mean, they're basically 6.5 right now.
Yeah. I mean, you almost extended into just C9 and TSM, and then almost everyone else.
Sure.
As far as the bottom can shift still. This is definitely one of those crucial weeks as we start to hone in on playoffs. Everybody wants to break into that spot. Not to mention everybody trying to get out of the relegation zone as well. And, that's why we got all the exciting roster moves. Definitely some promising things, though. Team Dignitas was one that was the least involved in those roster moves, kind of went under the radar. And their improvements today, I don't think I would attribute to any sort of that, because it didn't affect their actual playing roster.
They traded away Stunt and they got better.
They traded away their substitute, yeah. Honestly, it was so much about the team play improvements from these guys. So, don't have to make personnel changes to see big improvements. And I wonder if this is
trust the process. You trust the process.
You have to trust. That's what you
trust
have to
the process.
You have to have faith.
You have faith. They took it away from CLG. Faith is now all with the Team Dignitas fans. They are back and rearing to go and ready to kick some more butt. We'll see if they can do it more later on. But for more on that, let's check in with Zyrene and the Dignitas.